All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, talk strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. I appreciate you all joining us today. If you're on the live Zoom or joining us via a recording afterwards, we're going to use the little notepad as I tend to do to kind of to take notes and navigate our discussion today. Our topic today is a very important one. And if you don't think it's important, I think you're mistaken, respectfully. So I think this is important because when you chose to become a branch office, what we call the Opportunity Fund, you made probably a life-changing decision. You made a decision to get paid a lot of money to help other people. And there's promises that we made to you, and there's promises that you made to us when you entered into that relationship. One of the promises that we made to you is to provide you training and support and resources. And I want to make sure that everyone is aware of those. A lot of those, frankly, are found right here on chapmanloanprogram.org. So we're going to go through branch resources with some specific attention to make sure that you know kind of the gold mine of information that you have available to you right here on the website. For any of you who are not currently a branch office, if you desire to become one, you can enroll here. It's in the red. So with that being said, I'm going to speak for the rest of our time together this morning, assuming that you are a current branch office. So we're going to make that assumption. So thank you for becoming a branch office. As I mentioned before, it's a great opportunity to legally and ethically help others, help people build their financial literacy, help them obtain, to structure a fundable business. And from that, you should be generating $100,000 a month. We understand that there's three things that you do as a branch. So let's go ahead and skip over to that. What are the three things that branches do? So I'm going to look for some audience participation. If anyone would like to offer an answer, you can type it into the question and answer box. It's like a Q&A box, like a chat box, I should say, a Zoom. So there's three things that you do, because remember, we handle all the implementation, which is awesome. You're able to go do your part, and then we do all the implementation. So a fair amount of the training, we teach you about how the implementation works, but it's not your responsibility. All right, so Maryland's the first one to name it, to nail it. So as a branch, you generate leads, and we can talk more about each of these. Then you educate leads, and then you enroll leads. So Maryland nailed it on the head. Now, if you frankly don't want to do any of these three, we have an outlet. And that outlet is called what? The CPP, Client Placement Program. And I'll give you a recent success story. So we have Sally. Let's see if Sally's on this morning. No, she's not. She's an angel, but she's not with us this morning. So Sally is a branch office. She came up short last week because remember, as a branch, there's promises you made, and part of that is production, but we'll get back to that. So Sally came up short, so she bought 2 client placements. So these are not leads. These are contracted clients. So let's just do a quick success story. Didn't plan to do this. So Sally bought 2 CPPs, not leads, but clients. Yesterday, Sally was paid $2,500 from one of the 2 CPPs. So if you're not ready, or you're not good, or you're not willing, I don't know how to describe it, but if you're not able, for whatever reason, you can dress it up as you want, to do these three things, you can outsource it to us. We have the client placement program, and it works. Again, Sally's a real person. Again, she's not on training this morning. Often she is, but that's okay. So she bought 2 PPPs because she had a shortfall last week, and one of those 2 just paid her $2,500. So that's great. So you need to be proficient in doing these things or plan to outsource all or part. Now, does this mean that you have to be good at all 3 of these things? No, not at all. No, you could delegate, you could outsource some or all of that. And we can assist you and support you in doing that. But ultimately, this is what branches do. So you either need to do it or outsource it, because if you do none of the above, then you have a failing branch. You're not making money and you're not compliant. So, and I see that Timothy's asking the question. So let's go ahead and just get the elephant out of the room. So branch production goals. Who can tell me, assuming that you've all signed up to be a branch office, what did you promise to do when you enrolled in terms of production requirements? What were the production requirements that you promised to do? So go ahead and type it into the Q&A. Cedric got it right. So first of all, there's a 30-day grace period. So from the time that you enrolled as a branch, we understand that we need to get you trained and get the system set up and get a lead flow going, a funnel. So there's no unrealistic expectations, but there's a 30-day grace period. And then, as Cedric just responded, after that, each of you promise to enroll at least 2 clients per week. Oh my goodness, why is that there? Why should I have any production requirements? Because we don't need you otherwise, right? The whole purpose of having branches is to have outlets into the communities across the country to go build financial literacy and help people access capital. We don't want dabblers. So that's why we have an agreement. That's why there's a setup fee, right? When you sign up to be a branch, you even were asked to pay a setup fee, because we need to screen out dabblers. Dabblers are horrible for our business because most dabblers seek to suck up time and energy, training, intellectual capital, and they don't produce. So we vet through. We're only looking for the best of the best. We don't want everyone to be branch offices. We want committed, driven, motivated professionals. Now, the good news is enrolling 2 clients a week after a 30-day grace period should not be a problem. Should not be a problem. And we talk about it, we train about it, we'll support you. So for example, in the certification, so we're still here on Chapman Loan Program, scroll down, there's the certification. If you've not gone through these 5 modules, obviously you probably should. Well, we talk in both certification module 2 and 3 about different ways to generate leads. Because remember, we can't ignore the fact that you have to have leads, because if you don't have leads, you're going to have no one to educate. And if you have no one to educate, you're not going to enroll anyone. And your branch is going to go broke. I'm not saying you'll go broke, but your branch will go broke. It won't be profitable. And you're going to default on the agreement. So we need leads. And from leads, we can educate them. And once we educate, then we can enroll them. And we need to be enrolling at least 2 a week. We just talked yesterday, again, about Facebook marketing. We've got a really good system that a number of you are using for Facebook marketing. It's not expensive. Typically, people are spending $5 a day for Facebook marketing, not paid to us, paid to Facebook marketing. And I think everyone that's following that model is generating around 100 leads a month. Now, these are qualified leads. These are real leads, not just some name and number of someone that may or may not be looking for capital. So if you don't know how to generate enough leads, you got to let us know. But it starts with going through the certification modules, of course. So we can help you if that's the problem of you being compliant. If you're not good at educating the leads, we can help you. But what we've talked about before, probably the best way, one of the best ways to educate leads is using the 4-phase presentation. So let me click this on, and I'll pause it. So remember the 4-phase, got the swooping arrow. And so actually down here on certification training module 1, we teach you how to use it. But frankly, even if you weren't comfortable enough to present it yourself, you could go here, click on this, click on share, copy and paste, and then you would have the link that you could share with people. Let me paste it in there. There you go. Yeah, got a commercial if you needed to. But what's most powerful is certainly for you to educate using this information, and we teach you how to present it here on module 1. If they hear your voice educating them, then they're probably going to be more comfortable in enrolling. So they don't know how the lead was generated, so you can outsource the lead generation easily. But if you're the one educating them, whomever educates them is in the best position to enroll them. So could you separate these two? You could, but I'm just telling you, instead of playing this video for people, which is frankly my voice, it would be better if you educated them using that. We teach you how on module 1, then they're more likely to enroll. But getting back to Timothy's point, each of you signed, let's go to it, a branch license agreement. So let's talk about the history of this a little bit. So in the past, branches paid up front $35,000. That was the price of admittance. Now, this is pre-COVID, so we did in-person training, so there was a few things that was different. But if you wanted to be a branch office, you paid or you got financing for $35,000. $35,000. And people were successful with it. But as time went along, we grew, and we didn't want or need money from the branches. So what is it now? So let me ask you, what's the deal now for any of you who are a current branch license agreement, branch partner? What is the license fee? What is the license fee? So who can respond into the Q&A? Not the setup fee, not the $4.99, but is there a license fee to become a branch office? Is there a license fee? Not asking, do you have to pay it? That's separate. But what is the license fee? It's in writing, right? It's clearly stated in the agreement you have with us. Again, we're not asking you to pay it, but there is a license fee. It's $10,000. So it dropped from $35,000 to $10,000, plus you do not have to pay it. It's there, but you don't have to pay it. So in the branch license agreement, we say, hey, you know what? We'll perpetually defer the license fee for branches. It's awesome. Now, there's a condition attached to it, of course, that you'll come in and you'll be active. Because why bother? It's like, why would you go buy a Domino's pizza franchise and not sell pizzas, right? It's a waste of time and effort for everyone involved. So there is a license fee, but we don't want you to pay it. But it's the deferment or the waiver of that is contingent upon after a 30-day grace period to enroll at least 2 clients a week. We want you to be making money. We want you to be educating people. We want you to help them access capital. So getting back to Timothy's point, what happens if a branch isn't compliant? So in other words, well, let's say there's a branch, they're past their grace period, and we do an audit, and last week they didn't enroll at least 2 clients. Well, what's the first thing we're going to do? we're going to ask, what can we do better? So let's take one of you. We'll do David, for example. So if David's numbers are off, first thing we're going to do is not some hateful, ugly thing, but hey, David, you've been around a while, well past the 30-day grace period. Your numbers are not there. What do we need to do better? What is it that we need to do better? Have you gone through the training, the 5 modules? Do you understand different ways to generate leads? What is it that we can do better? Because it's not working, right? You're out of compliance in this theoretical example, David. What we've done is implemented a process. So let's say that a branch isn't compliant. So first we're going to ask, what can we do better to help you? And then secondly, we're going to offer CPPs, because it's kind of the insurance policy. Remember, we talked about client placement program here. It's real. So these are not leads. We don't sell leads. These are clients, contracted clients. So we transfer to, we do these in packets of 2. So CPPs are $250 per 500 for the pair. So anyone that's not compliant as a branch, don't worry about it. Let's do 2 things. Let's figure out what we can do to get your lead funnel going, make sure that you're comfortable educating, make sure you're enrolling. So let's fix the core of the problem. And then secondly, let's get you back compliant by getting you 2 clients today, outsourced clients, CPP. So the only issue would happen is if you opened a branch, you were not being compliant, you're not willing, I guess, to help us figure out what we can do to help you better, wherever the breakdown is, and if you're not willing to get the CPPs, because this is the insurance policy that if you're coming up short, fine. So let's go back to the CPP. I think if you understand this more, you'll appreciate it more. So what does this mean? It means that we hired a sales team to do for your branch what your branch was supposed to have done, but hasn't. So essentially, we've gone out and done client development for your branch because you're not able to, or not willing to, or not capable of, or whatever the reason is. Again, not casting blame. So is there a cost for us to go hire people and do these 3 things for you? Of course, because it wasn't part of the original deal. We didn't say sign up to be a branch and we'll go do all 3 of these things and you just sit back and make $100,000 a month. That's not a fair, equitable financial relationship. So this is like your insurance policy. So any of you that are coming up short, we can fix it, right? How do we fix it? Number 1, let's get together and figure out what do we need to do better to help you be successful, because anyone should be able to do these 3 things. And then secondly, get CPPs. But I will tell you, we've had a couple branches that weren't compliant, and regardless of number 1, if the branch refuses to become compliant by using the CPPs, then they're out of compliance, right? They're not doing what they promised to do. So then the branch is default, the branch closes, and now what happens? Now the $10,000 is owed, which we talked about here. But we don't want, and we've had people pay the $10,000. With the $10,000, then you no longer have a production goal. So we have some people that just sign up and they just pay the $10,000. That way they don't have any production goals. Because the deal, let's clarify it, it's not meant to be punitive. What's the deal for production? Get active and don't, or do not pay the license fee. But the opposite is true. If you don't get active, then you do need to pay the license fee. I think it's fair. Again, remember, everyone was paying anywhere from 25 up to 50,000 before. Now there's nothing other than just the setup fee. Now let's get to the setup fee. So if you're a new branch, there is a branch setup fee, but you don't have to pay for it out of pocket, which I'll get to in just a second. So is there a branch setup fee? There is, because there's a cost of time, effort, energy, the transference of intellectual capital to get your branch open. There is a setup fee. It's in writing, so you shouldn't be surprised by that. However, you do not have to pay out of pocket. Exclamation. Well, why is that? Become a branch. Let's go enroll a client. And now the money's coming in. So you still would pay the setup fee, but you don't have to pay it out of pocket. In other words, the income that you generated from the first client generates enough profit that you're able to then cover the setup fee. So is there a setup fee to open a branch? Yes. Is it a fair amount? I think so. Do you have to come up with it out of pocket? No. But if you're not going to pay for it out of pocket, then we'll need to work together quickly to go generate a client so you have revenue to pay for it. But our experience has been the setup fee is important. Number one, to help offset our cost of setting up each branch, but also for our distribution partners to have skin in the game. Because we talked about earlier, we want active partners. Now, people will come to us with all kinds of excuses of why they're not active. And we can try to work through whatever the issue may be. But the bottom line is we have a deal, right? Hey, come aboard. We'll waive the license fee perpetually, but you have to be active after a month. And there just shouldn't be a problem. And if you're having trouble with being active and we can't resolve it quickly, then do what Sally did and does, client placement program. Still makes money. It's not an expense, right? So she paid $500 for a pair because she didn't hit her numbers last week. One of the two has already paid her. The other one hopefully will, but one of the two has already paid her. She's already ahead. So if any of you are not hitting your numbers, you got to let us know. Do you want to get compliant or not? If not, your branch is in default. If you do want to get in compliancy, let us know what we need to do to train and support you better, and then also get the CPPs. So back to the website itself, Chapman Loan Program has a lot of good information. It describes in bulleted format, essentially our deliverables. For clients that come to us directly, they complete these 2 steps. So that's a little bit different than how clients will process through your branch, but you could certainly use this training video, as I mentioned, to help educate your prospects until you're ready to carry that message forward. There's a number of different resources that you might find valuable. Here's where we did a training that we took a little bit of a different approach, where we said, hey, client, don't sign up. Don't sign up, client. Instead of signing up, why don't you do an objective comparison of the different resources that's available to help you get the funding you need? And so you can watch that if you want. This is the link to enroll as a client, which as a branch, you're not going to drive people here, right? As a branch, you will not drive people here. You're going to contract with them directly, because the branch is what we call a white label or a private label model. So you're not driving them to us. Financing offer link. Here's where to register for the live Zooms. Here's press release. Now, as a branch, we provide each of you numerous editable documents to use. So in other words, you take the template and you remove our information and you put yours on it. So everything from the client agreement to the press release to the PowerPoint and so forth, those are some of the deliverables you get with the setup fee. This describes the client implementation process, funding success stories. This section here is most relevant to those of you who are either current distribution partners or wish to become one. And as we mentioned before, if you're not, this is where you sign up. Now, we're not MLM, we're not network marketing, but we did roll out an override system not too long ago. So let's say that you know of someone that would like to be a branch office themselves. You can refer them in, and then you get 2 points override. And so that's a big deal. Maybe it doesn't mean much to you if you're not familiar with funding terms, but let's move this over here, broaden it, and we'll talk about overrides for branches on your team. So there's a couple different ways. You know that there's a $4.99 setup fee for the branch. So if you want to get overrides, you would collect $4.99.99 from the, we'll call them the new branch. You keep half, send us half. So you're making $2.50 right off the right out of the chute. Then also then you receive 2% override. So what does that mean? So let's say that you bring on, we'll call them branch A. Branch A enrolls client A. Client A has a $250,000 capital raise. You get $5,000. So, you know, how that works, not magic, right? So the client is paying a performance fee off their capital raise. And of that, you're getting 2 points, 2% of 250,000 is 5,000. So you might say, well, that's not much. You know, if I'm going to bring on a branch, I need to be paid more than that. Well, that's how much you could reasonably make for every client from that branch, right? So the goal isn't that branch only brings on one client. Remember, we talked earlier that each branch has committed to what? Enrolling, make this broader. Each each branch has committed to doing at least 2 clients a week, 8 a month. So let's say that you do bring on a branch, they should be doing this 8 times a month. So hopefully they're active. You'll want to encourage them to be active. We want to encourage them to be active. But now your monthly overrides per branch referred in is what? 8, because they need to be doing at least 2 a week after a 30-day grace period. You're getting 2% override, which should be about 5,000 clients. So you're looking at right at 40,000 monthly. And I realize a lot of you are rich and famous, so maybe $40,000 a month in passive income isn't exciting, but let's not just enroll in one branch, right? Enroll multiple branches, and every branch you have a really nice passive revenue stream. So again, we're not MLM, we're not network marketing, you don't have to do this, but some of you have almost demanded the ability to receive overrides from branches that you refer in, so the system's in place. It's great. All right, so with that, let's open it up last couple minutes to questions, comments, concerns. We've covered a lot. You know, what we wanted to do is certainly bring your attention to the chapmanloanprogram.org. Make sure you're aware of some of the resources that's there. What I didn't mention, we'll scroll down. So key branch resources. Number 1, the website, which is what we just looked at. Number 2, daily Zooms. We don't have these Zooms every day, but most weekdays, 8 o'clock Central. Third, we should be having weekly one-on-ones. Fourth, of course, is on demand. When we have an urgent issue that comes up, we can help you with that. And then, of course, you have the branch resources documents that we send you once you've paid the setup fee. So just keep in mind, these are the 5 primary types of resources. Some of you seem to really be hesitant to do these weekly one-on-ones, and I think that's a missed opportunity. Katori's asking, can branches also be clients? Absolutely. But I was talking to, who was I talking to this morning? Gary. So Gary was confused. Gary's a new branch, but Gary, as of yesterday, so welcome aboard, Gary. Gary might have thought that when he became a branch, he automatically became a client. And that's not correct, right? Those are two different roles. You could be a branch and not a client. You could be a client, not a branch. You could be both, or of course you could be neither, but they're two separate things. But at least, as far as the training, let me pull this back. If you've signed up to be a branch, at least go through these 5 modules. And when I say go through them, I mean diligently. Stop, take notes, pause. This is very important, and it's a great foundation to build off of. And then, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to come off wrong, but I'll just try to soften it. We made a deal, right? If you decided to become a branch, we said, okay, we'll provide you the tools, training, support to generate what should be at least $100,000 a month. It's a real deal. It's legal, it's ethical, it's real. And so we said, pay your setup fee and we'll get you set up. We have some of you that don't pay the setup fee. And it's like, why? Right? Well, I'm broke. Well, then let's go bring on a client so you're not broke anymore. So let's go find a client. Client pays you. Now you can pay the setup fee. So that's frustration number 1. Pay the setup fee so we can properly train and support you. That's the deal. You promised to do that. We'll do what we promised. And then secondly, some of you just feel like, this is kind of optional. I don't know. Or everyone has a reason. Well, no, I didn't hit 2 clients per week, but, well, the contract is the contract, right? If you don't have enough of a funnel to hit these numbers, let us know. We'll work with you proactively. But if you've not hit those numbers, our investors, my bosses, are getting less tolerable and saying, if the branch is not compliant, then what do we need to do? We need to figure out what we need to do to help them more, and we need to offer them CPPs. But if a branch doesn't want help to improve and or doesn't want CPPs, then they're in default, right? And it means the branch closes down and you're still responsible for the 10,000. I think that's maybe a misnomer. People think, well, I'll quit. I'll just quit. Well, then you're responsible for the license fee. It's not like you quit and that just went away, but we don't want anyone to pay the license fee. The design of this is not for you to pay the license fee. It's for you to come in, have a 30-day grace period, which you shouldn't even need. We should be able to make money within the first couple of days together. But then there's production goals, because we don't want dabblers. So for those of you that are starting to get notices, I mean, you should know it, right? You can look at your numbers. Last week, did you enroll 2 people or not? Right? It should be crystal clear, assuming you're past the 30-day grace period. If not, then we need to talk. We need to fix it. We need to help you. And we need to help you figure out what we need to do to fix the lead flow. We talked again recently about Facebook marketing. Facebook marketing is probably the most certain, the most predictable, and probably the most passive way of getting plus or minus 100 qualified leads a month, and anyone can do it. So with all that being said, our contact information is here, our phone, our email. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We're here to assist you. We win together. We also lose together, I guess, but we win together, right? This is not about a one-sided proposition. We're providing each of you a legal and ethical way to help people build their financial literacy and have fundable businesses. But you've got to do your part. And please don't make us the bad guy if you're not doing your part. Now, if you don't feel like we're doing our part, you got to let us know, and we need to try to fix that, of course. But some of you just frankly aren't doing your part. And so don't be upset when we ask you to do what you promised to do. We're not changing anything. Jenna asked, so if you're not familiar with the financial model, again, we'll go ahead and close this down. Chapman Loan Program, Jenna, Module 4 goes through the financial model. So I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, Jenna. I'm not being disrespectful. But we spent time building out a financial projection training, and it's right here. And so the answer is you need 8 clients a month, because you're going to make about 25 to 26,000 we predict per client. So 8 times 25,000 is of course 200,000. And the branch model, we're doing what? A 50-50 split. So the answer, Jenna, to your question is 8. But that's what the whole model's built off of, is you enrolling at least 8 clients a month. But Please don't get mad at us if we're trying to hold you accountable for what you promised to do. And of course, we're not going to get mad at you if you hold us accountable for what we promised. That's the way that relationships should work, especially when you have written contracts. So some of you, if you're being asked to pay the $10,000 license fee because you've not done what you've promised, I guess first maybe accept responsibility. If you've not done it, if you feel like you have done it and our records are wrong, of course, that's different. But if you've not done it, accept responsibility, and then let's fix it. Let's fix it. Let's figure out what we need to do to help you do things better. There's 3 things that you do, and then also get CPPs to correct the issue. But if you don't want to do things better and you don't get CPPs to get current, then you're in default. The branch closes, and yes, you still owe the $10,000. In summary, we are excited to work with you. What we do is important. It's needed. You can help people and you can generate an adult income on a very part-time basis, but you got to do your part. So with that, let us know what we can do to assist you, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye.